Hello and welcome to another episode of the Hello Hosty Podcast. Today I am joined by Kush of GK Alpha Properties, based out of West London, operating in Reading, Swindon and Windsor. Is that correct?
Yep, that is correct.
Well, thank you for joining us today, Kush.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
So should we start off with you telling us a little bit about yourself and what it is you do in real estate?
Yeah, absolutely. So like Clive said, my name's Kush. I run a company, co-owned with my business partner, who's unfortunately not here today due to illness. But I co-own a company called GK Alpha Properties. We manage properties for clients for rent-to-rent serviced accommodations, and we also run serviced accommodations ourselves within West London. We also have a deal sourcing company. So within this deal sourcing company, we find investment portfolios for certain individuals, certain investors that are tailored directly to them all around the UK as well. So that's what we tend to do right now, and we're just scaling up and getting started, and it's becoming really good, getting busier and busier. But yeah,
Interesting. So I've got loads of questions for you. I mean, obviously, there's the obvious question that comes to me straight away is so you're doing deal sourcing. How does that work? How do you
yeah.
find a deal and how do you pass it on?
So deal sourcing, well, when we started deal sourcing, it was a bit of a hit and a miss because obviously we were learning as well at the same time when we first started out, and we were really trying to secure the best deals. But what we realized, we were securing the best deals for the wrong investors because the investors did not want that specific type of deal. So the way it works now, and now we've tailored it and we've made it better, was that we find the investors first. So the investors will come to us and they would require a property or a investment portfolio to add to their portfolio. So let's just say, for example, they want a HMO in Liverpool for under £150,000. That will generate them 20% ROI at the end of turn with a bit of refurb. So what we will tend to do, we will then travel to Liverpool, or we will have a look around Liverpool where we contact estate agents within the area. We contact all landlords in the area that are selling. So we go to networking events as well to see if people are literally just getting to know the area, getting to know people. And then from there, once we've got the property and we've had a viewing of the property and everything like that, we would also check if it has all the requirements that the investor would like. Right. So if the requirements match what the investor wants, we will then negotiate the price within the estate agent or the landlord if it's direct. And once we've negotiated the price and everything, we'll do our own due diligence. We'll run the numbers for the investor. So it's basically like a hands-off investment. So they don't have to do anything. It's catered to people that don't have the time to look for property, or have busy schedules, or are running companies, or have families. So they sometimes have time, and that's where we come in. And we will find a portfolio that would either match their property or have something very similar to what their requirements are.
Okay.
And then what we do, we will then pass on that deal, and that's how it works.
Okay.
And then we get a fee out of that.
I'm interested to know. I like to know the nitty gritty details. So how does the fee work? When do they pay you? Do they pay you after the deal's done, or do they pay you for the introduction? How does that work?
So it varies. It depends on the deal as well. So with like serviced accommodation deals, as popular as they are right now, we like to get the sourcing fee up front. Obviously, we have VIP investors as well that pay bespoke fees beforehand, so that when the deal comes, it's prioritized to them. So it makes it much more easier for them, so that they don't miss out on a deal, because it's such a hated thing where you send them a deal but they don't respond back to you, and then by the time they respond back to you, it's already taken by someone else.
Of course.
So for them to not do that, they transfer beforehand just to make it easier for them. But if it's like a really big development property or anything like that, we always try and take half before we hand over the due diligence, which then they have a certain required amount of time of 14 days to do their due diligence.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're not happy with the deal, we do send that money back within 24 hours of half of the fee. And if they are happy, then they will transfer the next half of the fee after that. So that means we get our full fee, and we will still help them until they have the keys in their hands and they're happy with their investment. Yeah. And then we'll always check up on them after or during their refurb period. And when they've got it fully tenanted and they're making their money, then we do catch up afterwards just to see how they're going. But yeah, that's how we normally work.
Interesting. So what led you to this point? What led you to where you are now?
That's a good question. Well, we obviously, my business partner's not here, but we started out at university. We did uni together, everything like that. We finished uni and we started this book club. And this book club was, I know it sounds a bit weird, but we did start like a little book club where we read books. We tried to read one book a month.
Okay.
And we did it for a good 6 months. And from there, my business partner actually went into a Samuel Leeds networking event for £1. He was selling it for £1, and we went in there. And from there, it just blew our mind. Because obviously, the way we were taught property was much different to what Samuel Leeds and all the other people do property as. So there's ways of making money without actually spending anything, which we thought, how can that be? But with a little bit of work and all that, we've got from there, we started our company, we joined his academy, and here we are now to this day. And we haven't looked back ever since.
Awesome. It's good to hear. Yeah. So you're on a roll at the moment.
Yeah, we're on a roll. The work is getting a bit busier and busier. I'm not going to lie. It's sometimes like we're trying to now systemize everything where everything is set out perfectly, so we don't have to concentrate as much on those properties, where we can focus on other aspects in property to build our portfolio and build our relationship with other people. Yeah. So that's one of the major things we're concentrating on right now.
Automation is king.
Yeah, automation is king.
Yeah,
it's one of the biggest things I feel is necessary in property.
So talk to me about your tech stack. How do you manage these properties which you're currently managing without having to be running around constantly? What kind of tech are you using?
So we do quite a lot of tech. Before, when we first started, we were just doing everything ourselves. So we will clean the properties, we will manage tenants, we'll do all of that. And from there, we realized that we couldn't really do it because it was such hard work. Traveling to all the properties every time, late at night sometimes, early morning sometimes. So it was a bit of a hassle and we could not really do it. So now what we started, we have a massive power team in Reading. So we have a systemized cleaner who is linked to our Airbnb sites and everything. So they know when people are booking in and booking out. They would attend our properties and clean the properties, everything. They'll also report damages to us. They'll report anything that looks out of place in our properties, which is one of the best automations. We also use AI sites as well. So we use a site called MailChimp. I don't know if you've ever heard of MailChimp.
Oh, yeah.
MailChimp automates all our emails, everything like that. So they will send straight away emails to guests who would want to stay in our place, so that we wouldn't have to. So we only handle like emergency sort of procedures that happen, like if like the hot water wasn't running or if the light wasn't working. That's when we will get called. But we use quite a lot of systems like that. But the main person is our cleaner, our maintenance people. They're one of the best people, and they will help out with everything.
Yeah, it's really important to get that team right, that you've got people that will support, that have skin in the game, that are interested in achieving the same goals that you set, and that they're going to look after the properties like they're their own. So yeah, I would agree with you in terms of getting the team just right is very, very important. So what do you spend most of your time doing as a property manager or host?
Most of my time doing is actually it depends. If I'm doing deal sourcing, I'm looking at mostly just gaining investors, gaining relationships with people. If it's for management, I'm looking at mainly trying to get the best possible service for our clients that are staying in our properties. So making sure everything is up to scratch. Our description on our Airbnb pages and booking.com is up point. We're always what was the word? We're always improving on our prices as well. We use Price Labs, so Price Labs really improve our costing, and it keeps it very competitive within the market of serviced accommodation at this moment, which is good. So we're just updating little by little every day, and we're just improving little aspects anywhere we can add to the properties we do. Just to make it that little extra touch of comfort for our clients. So that's what we tend to do with managing right now. And yeah, we're just looking to scale up a little bit more and get more clients on our list to invest into us, really. And for us to show them that property is not such a scary thing in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what is your current bottleneck in business?
Bottleneck.
So what's holding you back, or if anything?
What do you mean in particular?
So what challenges are you facing, or what do you feel is the barrier to you stepping up to the next level?
I think delegation right now. That's one of the biggest things. So like with deal sourcing and running a management company and everything like that, we are calling a lot of people. We are doing a lot of viewings, doing everything that is required. But the issue is with that is that it's taking up quite a lot of time for other aspects of the business, so managing everything. So I think right now delegation is one of our biggest things. So now I think it's hiring people soon. So hiring people to find deals for us, hiring people to make those calls to estate agents, to landlords, whilst we do bigger things where we're scaling up our portfolio ourselves. So I think that's one of the biggest things, is delegation for us to get to the next step.
Yeah, interesting. So looking back, what advice would you give yourself when you first started?
Just go for it, really. I've always, because obviously with property, it's always been a scary thought, because the way we were taught was obviously to save our money, get a mortgage, get a house, get everything like that. So, but I think just get stuck into it. Anything can happen, anything can work. You just got to find the right mentor, the right person to teach you, and just never give up. Just keep going with it. There's going to be down days, there's going to be bad days. But yeah, you just got to keep going and fight through those days until you get to the top.
Awesome.
I think that's one of the biggest things.
Some good advice there. Just keep going and never stop.
Yeah, just keep going, never stop.
Yeah. So do you have any hacks or tricks that you would like to share? Anything that you found really super useful that has accelerated your growth?
I think trying to keep it as simple as possible. That's one of the biggest tricks. Some people really overcomplicate deal sourcing. Some people are trying to find like the gem of a deal for people. So trying to find a gem is like finding a needle in a haystack. It's very difficult sometimes. So trying to find something that adds value to properties is one good trick to have. So find down properties that is a very good property that you can add value to and refinance in the future. With management and service accommodations, you've got to look at taking the best pictures having the best pictures on your Airbnb sites and booking.com sites, because pictures are one of the main things that get people interested. And also just adding certain things on Airbnb. So if you have a look on Airbnb sites, you can check what everyone has on Airbnb sites, so like hair dryers, parking, Wi-Fi, etc. And if you can look and see what thing that properties don't have, and adding that to your property will give you that edge for when you go into Airbnb. So you'll be up on the other people, and people might want to book with you. So like having one parking space, instead, if you can find a place to get two parking space, it will just add a little bit more. Or like if someone has, so like our Windsor property, we're going to have to put like, because there's going to be quite a lot of families, so having like a baby cot in there, it just improves for families, that they can bring families, and having wheelchair access. All of that stuff is just little things that you can add to the property that will get your occupancy rate up to where you would like it.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the best ways.
Price Labs is really good for that. They give you a breakdown on the amenities which are provided in your comparative set. If you create a comparative set, I was looking at that yesterday. Put together a valuation for somebody, and Price Labs. I'm like a big advocate for dynamic pricing. I think it's a game changer. So yeah, Price Labs is something that I can agree that's a really useful tool. So thank you for joining me today. If people would like to find out more about you or about GK Alpha Properties, how will they do that?
They can drop us a message on our Instagram, which is GK Alpha Property Management. So they can drop us a message on Instagram privately. We could also, on there, they have our email. Our phone numbers are on there as well. They could either give us a call or drop us a message through our email, and we'll happily respond straight away.
Awesome. Kush, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me, and yeah, we'll speak soon.
Cheers.